All right. Hey, everybody. This is Dominic D'Angelo of OneTrueSportTV.com. And we got a good guest here today. It's been a while since I've done an interview with him, but he's familiar with the area of Pittsburgh, more than familiar with the area of Pittsburgh. It is Sam Adonis. He's putting on a show, Bruno Forever, a tribute show to Bruno Sammartino, the living legend of Pittsburgh. And happy to, all-time favorite of mine, and I know he's an all-time favorite of Sam's too. Sam, good to have you here, man.
I'm happy to be here, man. I'm really looking forward to this weekend. I couldn't be happier. All the stars seem to have aligned for what's going to be an excellent night of professional wrestling. Like you hinted on earlier, this is the first ever official collaboration with the Sammartino family. Wow. So this is the first ever official fundraiser. The Sammartino family, in conjunction with my father's promotion, Pros of Wrestling, and an event entitled Bruno Forever. And, Pittsburgh knows all about Bruno. There's so much love and history with the family here. We're trying to do our best to kind of just raise awareness. And I know that sounds pretty ridiculous because everyone in Pittsburgh knows all about Bruno. But, personally, I feel that the city doesn't do enough for the legacy of Bruno Sammartino. We have one of the biggest sports stars of the 1960s and that's from Pittsburgh, and this transcends all sports. He's could arguably the Babe Ruth of professional wrestling is in our hometown. And we're going to do what we can to raise awareness, raise money for the Pittsburgh Food Bank on behalf of his family, and kind of just create the buzz and hopefully turn this into something special and an annual get together in honor and memory of Bruno Sammartino.
Well, how'd this all come to be exactly? Like, was it your brainchild? Was it, how did it all kind of come to fruition, so to speak?
So everything all kind of fell into place over the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. I now currently live in Dallas due to my wrestling obligations. I need to be a little bit more available to the rest of the world. So I'm in Dallas. My father he's taken a 10-year break from promoting wrestling events, but he just got back into it within the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. So he's really like amping up his involvement in the Pittsburgh wrestling scene. But, through the years, we've had so many great connections because of my involvement, my dad's involvement, my brother's involvements. And Daryl Sammartino has actually become a really good friend of him, and who's the son of Bruno. Basically, on accident, my dad stumbled upon, he became friends with the commissioner of the Ross Township Rec Center.
Oh, okay.
And Ross Township is the hometown of Bruno Sammartino. That's where he, had his house for all the years. So it kind of just evolved. One of these, like, it would be cool. Why don't we do a show here? It's Bruno's hometown. What can we do? And the light bulb went off. My dad is as big of a Bruno fan as anybody in this, city.
Yeah.
Myself and my brother grew up hearing his stories, looking at the old magazines, watching the matches, and in our household, Bruno really is like almost a work of fiction. He's almost like a superhero that you hear all about, because we weren't around to see him in his prime. But this is something my dad has really sunk his teeth into. He discussed details with Daryl Sammartino, with Larry Richert from KDKA, and a lot of other people involved locally to put this all together. And we decided to give it a go for this first one on March 15th. And whenever the cards started to line up, we realized we needed a special guest. What was the hook? And my dad had the brilliant idea. He said, "What about Stan Hansen?" And it was just, oh, wow. Right. Luckily, I've been able to make some good connections over the past few years through the Cauliflower Alley Club in Las Vegas. And Stan is a member, and a lot of his personal friends have become good friends of mine. So, through a couple of the right phone calls, we all worked it out. I was finally able to reach Stan Hansen, and the first words out of his mouth were, "I'm sorry, I don't do independent appearances anymore." And it was, "Oh, no, come on, this is a big thing." So after a few minutes of sweet talking, and I told him that I also work for All Japan Pro Wrestling, and I told him that this entire event is for charity, and it's for the sake of the Sammartino family. We're working on behalf of the family. And he said, "You know what? You talked me into it." So instantly he was all on board. Stan is one of the most genuine guys I've ever spoke to on the phone. I'm up tomorrow here in Pittsburgh. And he's so grateful for what Bruno has done for him in his career. And I mean, literally every time I'm on the phone, he brings it up. He says, "I can't stress enough how much I love Bruno." And he said, literally, the only reason he's doing this event is because it's on behalf of the Sammartino family. So to me, that makes it a little bit more special. It gives the event credibility. And you know, I hate to say it, but you know, this might be one of the last times we get to see Stan Hansen in person. You know, who knows how long he'll be able to make these appearances. And, you know, from his own personal mouth, he says he doesn't really want to very much. So I think all the elements fell into place to make this a really special night.
Well, it speaks to the legend of Bruno and what he's meant to so many people. And like, if fans aren't familiar, Stan Hansen was one of Bruno's greatest rivals, starting off, and it's just really a fun kind of thing to have him there and be a good ambassador for Bruno. And like, it's cool that there's a lot of Pittsburgh locals that are going to be on card too wrestling, but in turn, you and your brother are going to be there as well. So it's a really nice, good community event kind of happening that represents pro wrestling in Pittsburgh.
Exactly. And then, like I said, you know, in my personal vision, I'd like to make this an annual event. I think it'd be something great to do at least once a year, you know, bring everybody together for charity and, you know, for a good cause to commemorate such a legend like Bruno. You know, as you know, we tried to reach out to the other major Pittsburgh wrestling stars. You know, we had some out to other people, Kurt Angle, Shane Douglas. Sadly, the wrestling business, you know, is full of a lot of commitments. So unfortunately, we weren't able to get the entire cast and crew of a family reunion of Pittsburgh, if you will. But I think we're hitting the ground running for something that could become special, you know, down the road.
Absolutely. And there's like, that's the thing. If it becomes an annual event, who knows who we can get roped in and trying to get to this thing. So it's a pretty cool stuff. Talk about your interactions with Bruno over the years before he passed. How often did you get to see him? And I know your dad was a huge fan, as you mentioned, and your brother, I'm sure, too. So talk about that a little bit.
So I did not know Bruno personally. You know, I've met him multiple times. I remember going to autograph signings anytime we could. I remember the first time I would have met him would have been in 1992, I believe, at the I want to say it was Century 3 Mall. He did an autograph signing when his book came out. And there's a picture of me with him in the belt from 1992. I was 3 years old. I was a toddler, and you know, and then I don't remember it. I just know it happened. And then there was other, you know, occasions we met across the time. My dad actually really became good friends with the family. You know, unfortunately, post-mortem, you know, after he passed away, which is, you know, it's terrible, but at the same time, it's, you know, it's. I think we've shown our worth to the Sammartinos, you know, the remaining children. And I think they've been able to, you know, kind of trust us and what we believe in. When the Sammartino, I don't know if you remember a few years ago, they had his movie premiere down at the Heinz History Center.
Yes,
my family was there sitting in the front row as guests of honor with the family. And, you know, to me, it's amazing as a performer, as a wrestler, to say, you know, just by proxy, to have any sort of connection with this guy's family is an honor for me. But, you know, the cool thing is to see my dad. He's, you know, just, this is like a dream come true. You know, it's like he grew up idolizing this guy, and now he's good friends with his son. Again, unfortunately, we wish it would have happened 20 years ago, but, you know, it is what it is. And now just to know that we have the credibility and the respect of the family to us and to a lot of people, I think that goes a long way here in the Pittsburgh market.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I'm with you too. It's just like Bruno, the presence of Bruno is all around. I see, like, I'm in Bloomfield, so Little Italy area. So you see stuff of Bruno at the gym I go to, and during Little Italy days, I remember he would be there at some point in time. I never crossed paths with him there, but I did meet him once before. But it was, yeah, it's neat to see that. So I think there could be more. I knew there was talks of like a statue a long time ago and stuff, and I think that should still happen at some point, right?
That to me is a personal goal. I would love to somehow be able to facilitate something like that through an event like this.
Yeah,
you know, that's wishful thinking. You know, that might be 5 or 10 years down the line. But if whatever we can do to raise awareness and let Pittsburghers know that we do have this special part of history that came from our community, you know, go to Permanis in the Strip District. Who's front and center? Who's right in the middle? You know, that if that doesn't tell you the volume of character that this guy had, and the person he was, his backstory, how hard of a worker he was. Nobody defines the city quite like Bruno did. And, I would love to know that we can carry on that legacy. So, whatever we can do to give back and make people appreciate him, we're very excited for. One little detail that was quite exciting for us as far as the wrestling event, we're actually going to be crowning the first ever Bruno Sammartino Heritage Champion.
Wow.
So we actually have the blessing of the family to name our championship. It's an actual exact replica of the 1960s WWF Championship. It actually says WWF Championship on it. But just because it's a famous belt, it's something that people in the city recognize, and to have the blessing of the family to use that for our wrestling events, in the future, I think it's just kind of unrivaled credibility. I think it's something that I personally would be proud to hold. And we're going to be doing an over-the-top rope battle royal to crown a champion, and then whenever you see the Pros of Wrestling events or the WrestleRex events, you're going to be able to see the Bruno Sammartino Heritage Championship being defended. And I think that's just kind of the ultimate, it's not much. It's just, pro wrestling props. But to me, I think it's really cool that, the Sammartinos be willing to do something like that with us.
And what a great thing that is too. And you're incorporating it into your WrestleRex promotion as well then, huh?
Exactly. I think it's something that, as far as the Pittsburgh scene goes, we work with a lot of the greatest guys in town. We have a really good scene here in Pittsburgh, a lot of talent. And I myself have always prided myself on being able to, collect the best talent, put them all in the right place. I think it's fitting to have a title like this that could kind of, be a benchmark for the area. This title is not going to be the defended at the Tokyo Dome. This is something to me that is true to Pittsburgh, and I think it's a good benchmark to show the caliber of talent we have, and it's something cool and kind of nostalgic for the fans to bite into.
Yeah, and it cements into the Steel City atmosphere and all that kind of thing. So it's really whoever's going to hold that title is that's quite the trophy to have for a little bit, right?
Definitely excited about it. So we'll see how that works out tomorrow night. But I'm never too excited about wrestling twice on the same show, especially if one's a battle royal. So
right. So what I wanted to ask too, so something that I thought was kind of neat, and I'm going to tie it into something that you just recently posted on X, but Bruno was pretty a low key, really good promo, right? I just saw I think it was last week or the week before, just a clip of him after Larry Zbyszko turned on him. And that promo, I was like, holy crap, he's got me hooked on it. It was such a great promo, man.
You got to think, though, this was a completely different time, This is still before the promos were as developed and as polished as they are now. And I think Bruno, he was genuine, and I think that's what everybody will tell you about the guy. He was the real deal. He, think of all the controversy he had with WWE for years, and based on his moral conduct and character and what he believes in, and what this guy has seen it all. He's been through it all, and he still is just a symbol of hard work and excellence. And the guy was a real deal every time he got in front of the microphone, and people loved that. People admired that. What you saw is what you got. And I think that's something that's, I think in my opinion, more than anything, I think he's kind of the blueprint for what John Cena was, prior to the obvious heel turn a couple weeks ago. But, Bruno was the first version of hustle, loyalty, and respect, just get it done, put your head down, grind, and be good to the people next to you. And I think that's, pretty admirable.
I know, and he lived that on the wrestling television and in life, and that's what made it. You might mention it. He was just a natural, organic person, like that genuine person. What I was tying it into too is it's kind of perfect because John Cena just had his heel turn, and then I just saw you made a tweet about people. You mentioned about how people don't know how to necessarily be a heel nowadays or don't embrace being a heel, and you yourself. I've seen your work in AAA and then at MLW, Major League Wrestling, and everything like that. And you can convey a really good heel. So explain what is missing from being a good heel and what maybe John Cena could bring to it as well.
I think generally the problem, with modern wrestling and the heels versus baby faces is people forget that it's about emotion. You want to invoke emotion. And a lot of times you're not going to invoke the correct emotion if you're admirable. And admirability might not just be, by your character. It might also be your physical ability. You look at somebody like, Chad Johnson or Terrell Owens. They were morally bankrupt, but their ability made them admirable. So they're not really the heels that you want to be. A lot of times now, the bad guys, they want to be mean to the fans, but then they want to do all the cool tricks. So, I think that's missing in wrestling today. Honestly, Pittsburgh's the only place that even accepts me as a babyface, if you will, and I love it. Hey, I since the day I started wrestling, all I've wanted to be is the clean cut, blue eyed babyface. That's what I've wanted. But I know that there's such a lack of good villains in wrestling that's where I've really made my mark and cut my teeth. But as far as the Pittsburgh wrestling events goes, I think here it's very hard for me to convey myself as anything other than my genuine self, because a lot of the fans and the people coming to these shows, they've known me since I was a kid, and they know I'm not that terrible human being I play on TV. So I really love doing these shows. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited for Saturday. Excited for people to come out and just support. And I think at the end of the day, the coolest part about it is it's a Pittsburgh event. It brings people together. And if this is something that can become regular and keep everybody on the same page, and just remembering a sports icon while supporting the next generation, I think everybody wins.
Yeah, and it's neat too, because we got the Bruno obviously in the Pittsburgh area, but WWE, like you mentioned it, like him going into the Hall in 2013, couldn't imagine it happening, and like they've more embraced Bruno too and everything like that. It's good to see him get that tip of the cap from Triple H and all those guys that are able to and help carry on that legacy. And it's cool that you're doing this this weekend coming up too. So
it's really kind of, and it's one of those things where if you were to look at the infrastructure of what WWE was 20 years ago, I think you'd have a different situation. I think every Pittsburgh event would probably have more influence of Bruno Sammartino. But now the machine and the conglomerate has grown so huge, they can't focus on the individual markets the way they used to.
Right.
That's unfortunate, but it's not their fault. Nobody's blaming them. It's a big business. They have a lot going on. But to me, that just leaves opportunity. If WWE is not able to do a Bruno Sammartino event once a year in the city of Pittsburgh, someone else should. So
absolutely. Right? No doubt about it. So what else can fans expect if they're able to go on Saturday and see this, witness this inaugural event?
So the doors open at 4 p.m. There's going to be a meet and greet with all the wrestlers. Myself, Corey Graves, Stan Hansen, Bill Apter from PWI will be there. And there's going to be a lot of family, friends, and relatives of the studio wrestling wrestlers from the 60s. This is really kind of a generalized tribute to studio wrestling. There's going to be a lot of classic memorabilia. There's going to be silent auctions. There's going to be merchandise stands. Just more along the lines of a festival, kind of like a miniature Pittsburgh WrestleCon, if you will. And it's just going to be, a lot of people with the same common interest sharing stories. We have a life-size cutout of Bruno Sammartino for fans to get their pictures with. It's just going to be a good time. People just come and enjoying the scenario. But from 6 p.m. until 7 p.m., there will be a sit-down panel discussion hosted by Bill Apter. It's going to be Stan Hansen, Larry Richert from KDKA, and Daryl Sammartino answering fans' Q&As about Bruno Sammartino and about Stan Hansen's career. So it's just going to be interactive. The Q&A actually is free with the price of with a purchase ticket. So that's an added bonus. Obviously there's going to be some cost involved with the autographs and pictures with Mr. Hansen, but that's it's a small price to pay to be able to get some merchandise signed over there. But that's separate from what we're doing. But we just want it to be something that people remember. And again, like I said, it's so special having someone like Stan here. Again, he said he hasn't been to Pittsburgh since like 1991 or something. He told me years ago. He said all I can remember is coming through that tunnel and seeing the city hit him in the face, which a lot of people say. But it's going to be great to have him here, give him a good taste of what the Steel City is all about, and I'm probably going to end up treating him to a Permane sandwich on Saturday morning.
There you go. You don't want to get a lariat from him, that's for sure.
I would absolutely love to get a
Would you? Yeah. Let him lay it in.
I happy if I could, but sadly, he's not quite in the shape he used to be. But just spending time with him and having him here, and then letting him meet the people of Pittsburgh is going to be a great night.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic, man. Yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, if you guys make it March 15th, Ross Township, be sure to hit it up. Bruno Forever is going to go down. So Sam, thank you so much for doing this. Is there anything else you want to plug too?
Just check me out. Real Sam Adonis is my socials. Follow at WrestleRex412 is my WrestleRex promotion, or at Pros of Wrestling is my dad's promotion. So anything in Pittsburgh, if you're looking for good, high quality pro wrestling entertainment, you want to come to the Adonis, Graves, Polinsky family. So we'll make sure we take care of you.
Get that connection going, man. Hell yeah. Yeah. Carrying on the legacy of Pittsburgh wrestling. You can't beat it. Thanks so much, Sam.
Thanks a lot, brother. I appreciate you.